Help me reach 1,500 subscribers. I never imagined that a single sentence could end my marriage. I always believed breakups happened after screaming fights, betrayals, or years of obvious resentment. Not one careless line spoken over wine and laughter. But that's exactly what happened to me. My name is Claire. I'm 33 years old. And until that night, I truly believed my husband Daniel would never leave me. Not because our marriage was perfect. It wasn't. We had our disagreements, our dull routines, our unspoken frustrations. But I thought Daniel was the kind of man who stayed. The kind who endured. The kind who swallowed his feelings and chose peace over confrontation. I told myself that was love. I told myself that meant he was solid, dependable, unbreakable. I was wrong. Daniel and I had been together for 8 years, married for 5. He was steady in a way that felt permanent. He paid the bills on time without reminders. He remembered doctor's appointments, birthdays, and when the car needed servicing. If something broke in the house, he fixed it quietly without making a show of it. He didn't raise his voice. He didn't sulk. He didn't dramatize problems. He simply handled things. He wasn't flashy. He wasn't loud. He wasn't the kind of man who demanded attention the moment he entered a room. I was the opposite. I've always been expressive. I talk with my hands. I tease. I joke. I say things without fully thinking them through and assume love will soften the impact later. For a long time it did. Or at least I thought it did. That night started like so many others. We had invited a few friends over for dinner. Nothing fancy. Just food, wine, and easy conversation. One of the couples was new to our circle, and as often happens, the conversation drifted toward past relationships. Exes always come up eventually, half joking, half curious. People were laughing, sharing stories about heartbreaks, disasters, and the one that got away. I don't know why I opened my mouth. I don't know what possessed me to say it out loud. But when someone casually asked how Daniel compared to the men I dated before him, I laughed and said, honestly, my ex had more fire. Daniel's great, but he's safer. The table went quiet for just a second. Not long enough to stop me, but long enough to register if I had been paying attention. A few people chuckled awkwardly. Someone took a sip of wine a little too quickly. I smiled, convinced I'd made a harmless joke. I even looked at Daniel, expecting the usual reaction. An eye roll, a small smirk, some playful comment to move things along. Instead, his face didn't change at all. No anger. No embarrassment. Just a blank expression I didn't recognize. Trying to fix the moment, I kept talking. I mean, my ex was intense. Too intense. That's why he's an ex. Daniel is reliable. I thought that would help. It didn't. Dinner continued, but something had shifted. Daniel barely spoke after that. He answered questions politely, refilled glasses, cleared plates. He was physically there, but emotionally distant, like his mind had already left the room. I noticed it, but I brushed it off. I told myself he was just tired. He always got quiet when he was tired. He'd be fine. After our friends left, I started cleaning up the kitchen, still buzzing from the wine and conversation. I heard Daniel near the doorway. When I turned around, he had his jacket on and his keys in his hand. Where are you going? I asked casually. Out, he said. I laughed. Don't be dramatic. I didn't mean anything by that. You know that. That's when he looked at me. Really looked at me. For the first time that night, I felt uneasy. There was no anger in his eyes. Just something firm. Resolved. Like a decision had already been made. You compared me to your ex, he said calmly. In front of people. I sighed, already irritated. Oh my God, it was a joke. Everyone talks about their exes. You're being sensitive. He shook his head slowly, the way someone does when they finally understand something they've been avoiding. It wasn't a joke, Claire. It was the truth you've been thinking for years. That's not fair, I snapped. You're twisting it. No, he said quietly. I've heard it before. Not those exact words, but the message. That I'm boring. That I'm safe. That I'm the one you settled for. I crossed my arms, defensive. So what? Being safe is a bad thing now? I married you, didn't I? He let out a breath that felt heavier than shouting. You married me, but you never stopped measuring me against someone else. I didn't know how to respond, so I did what I always did when things got uncomfortable. I minimized it. You're overreacting, I said. You're really going to make this a big deal over one comment? He paused at the door, his hand resting on the handle. It's not one comment, he said. It's years of comments. Years of jokes. Years of feeling like I'm competing with a ghost. My heart started pounding, but I still didn't believe him. Not really. Daniel, you're not leaving, I said, half laughing. You always cool off. We'll talk tomorrow. He turned back to me, and this time there was sadness in his eyes. Real sadness. The kind that finally cuts through confidence. "That's the problem," he said softly. "You think I always will." And then he walked out. That night I barely slept. I expected him to come back. I checked my phone constantly, certain I'd see a message saying he needed space or that he was staying at a friend's place. There was nothing. Morning came and the bed was still empty. By afternoon, panic set in. I texted him. No reply. I called. Straight to voicemail. I told myself he was just trying to make a point, that he'd come home by evening. Evening came. Then night. The house felt unbearably quiet. For the first time since I'd known him, Daniel wasn't there to absorb the tension, to smooth things over, to make everything okay. As I sat alone on the couch, replaying my words again and again, I felt something unsettling settle into my chest. The realization that maybe he hadn't been weak at all. Maybe he'd just finally stopped enduring.